Jim, it seems like a million years ago, but it was about a week when the MAGA movement was divided, and you had a lot of people being critical of the president. Um, if he decides going forward, whether it's Iran or some other adversary of the United States, if he decides, it seems to be gearing up to use military force, do you think the Tucker Carlsons of the world have now been defanged, and they'll say, well, I guess this guy knows how to do it in a massive way that doesn't create the endless wars that they're worried about, or he hasn't settled that for some?
I think the reports of MAGA disunity or fighting were greatly exaggerated. The MAGA movement starts with President Trump. He defined the term. He has gained tremendous trust from his supporters. While they may disagree with him on an individual issue, in the whole, they support and trust his decision making. I think if you would poll Republicans right now, you would see 80 to 90% or higher support for what he did. So I just don't think that that's going to be a determinative thing. And let's remember, the first time is always the hardest time. It took tremendous courage for him to push the button and bomb Iran. The second time's a lot easier. So if, to the pastor's point, there is no verification of any promises they make, we can go back. Again, you don't want to do that. You'd rather do it at the peace table. But I think President Trump has shown he's willing to do that. And I don't believe there's any disarray in the Republican Party. I think they're four square behind President Trump, especially in light of the tremendous success we've seen.
Mark, I'm going to put. Go
Yeah,
ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say to add two things to that. One is that there were people such as Tucker Carlson who were able to sort of carve out a space for themselves to advance this narrative. And I'm not saying it was not heartfelt, but really it was Donald Trump in 2016, 2015, who was the one who sort of changed the way Republicans talk about this. When he was the first presidential candidate and you heard him get booed on stage to say that the war in Iraq was a mistake and to question overseas conflicts. Two, I think it's important to remember that at least since the Civil War, the Republican Party has been the party of the U.S. military. And there is this muscle memory embedded in its DNA where once war starts or military action starts, that peacenik stuff goes out of the window real quick.
They say that something that's easy is like a walk in the park. Well, easier than a walk in the park, hit the subscribe button, be part of the two-way community, never miss an episode, be part of our conversations. Thank you for your service to America.